Mr. Vineet Mishra. Mr. Vineet is Director Technology Consulting and has been associated with EY from the last 10 years and has more than 19 years of experience in the power sector. Mr. Vineet has been pivotal in establishing the digital practice in EY power and utility sector and has great international exposure and has worked with various international companies. Today, Mr. Vineet will be talking about smart metering roadmap in Indian distribution sector. So let's welcome Mr. Vineet.
So my initial thought around this smart opportunities in utility space, I would say that there are a number of smart initiatives are happening across utility space. So be it smart metering as highlighted by Mr. Rajiv in terms of communication aspect, or smart grid apart from this enterprise asset management. So all these are contributing, I would say, kind of a digital space in utilities. But the prevalent topic which is running across the utilities nowadays is a smart metering. And a significant chunk covered by Rajiv in his session. So I'm just trying to recall and would like to share with all of you how this journey evolved and how this journey is going to shape in future based on our market understanding and our market research. So India already started to take off in terms of smart communication with RAP-DRP scheme, where utilities opted AMR solution. So again, AMR and smart metering are very interjectively using words, but AMR was unidirectional communication, while smart metering or AMI, we talk about a bidirectional communication. So under RAP-DRP, this journey was started already. But in the year of 2013, when the experts within ministry and stakeholder considered that how we can make our grid more smarter. So though we are having a unidirectional communication, but we need to focus on bidirectional communication now. So AMI concept envisaged or a smart metering concept envisaged. And under smart grid pilot scheme, there were 14 pilots were launched in 2013. There was a different time frame when these pilots being executed in various DISCOMs. And based on the response of those pilots, government envisaged that, okay, let's try to take forward this journey on commercial. And I'm very happy to share my thoughts along with Rajiv ji, and Rajiv being part of one of the marquee engagement rollout in India. That's from ESL side, it was UP, Haryana and Bihar. So that commercial rollout started from there itself, and some other states like Madhya Pradesh, Assam, and I would say Jammu and Kashmir also started the journey in commercial. But that commercial took off was a limited commercial. As I say, UP, which was envisaging almost 4 million smart meter rollout, while if we see the consumer base of UP is 30 million. So that was almost 12-13% rollout. Haryana was looking for 1 million out of 8 million consumers. So though that was a commercial takeoff, but that was not a full commercial takeoff. Then ministry again put some thoughts around it and came with all stakeholders, all nodal agencies, PSUs, be it REC or PFC. Then they decided, okay, if this scheme is really giving the benefit to the consumers, to DISCOMs, so why can't we take it on a full swing? And with this thought, I would say that ministry already, I think most of the listener would be aware of the fact that ministry has already launched a scheme, RDSS. So distribution reform scheme already launched. Under the scheme, $22 billion being provisioned for this particular scheme. And the key insight of this scheme, most of you know that I'm not running through those pointers, but the important aspect of the scheme is it is on per meter per month basis model. So in past, n number being done of such kind of site, but those all were on capex mode or turnkey mode. Capex mode, like you deliver the engagement, you execute the project and come out of that engagement, then utility will run through this. But there were certain challenges, and considering the technology challenges which are coming or upgrading technologies, ministry envisaged that, okay, let's do one thing. System integrator needs to put his skin in the game for 10 years period. You build, you operate, you own, and then you transfer it to the utility after 10 years. So 2.5 years implementation period, 7.5 years, you will run the show. So that's the scheme. And one important aspect, though being provisioned are standard bidding document published by ministry, the payment security mechanism. So I have never seen such kind of provision in past, at least to boost the confidence of private sector, that DISCOM need to take the consideration of direct debit facility. So this direct debit facility, though there are n number of apprehensions running in the market, and I personally, I'm very keen to see at least the first RFP where DISCOM will mention this clause. There's a direct debit facility for AMI system, the AMISP. So, but I'm talking about the intent, because intent create the sentiment in the market. So intent is positive. So with this intent, ministry is looking that private players should come in this game, run the show, and DISCOM should also make sure that they are making payment to system integrator, because it's a 10 years journey. And we are not talking about 5 to 10 CR investment. We are talking 100 plus CR investment in this. So private players' sentiments are also going to play a significant role. So in last 4 months, 5 months, this all is being discussed within the corridors. But I was having a discussion, and I was part of another panel where Lakshmananji, CEO REC, also shared that ministry is now coming up with new push, I would say, which quite, I would say, tailwind for this particular initiative, that PSUs will take a lead role in this. So how PSUs are coming? So 3 PSUs, PFC, REC, and Powergrid have been nominated by ministry to start this journey on nomination basis. So these PSUs will take the work from the state DISCOMs, and they will subsequently pass on this work to system integrators, core system integrators who are willing to take forward this or going to implement this. What all are the advantages of this particular mechanism? So based on our discussion and our consultation with all the stakeholders, the one important point through this particular arrangement comes that counterparty risk mitigation. So what the counterparty, how it's going to be mitigated? So state DISCOM versus PSUs, we can fairly understand the relationship between state DISCOMs and direct private player vis-a-vis the state DISCOMs and PSU. So are far living. So PSUs can ensure what mentioned in a standard bidding document, and the most important aspect which I talked about, direct debit facility. Probably private player may not be able to get it done, but yes, PSUs may be able to convince the state DISCOMs that, okay, this is the part of standard bidding document and you need to adhere it. Number one. Second important point for investor per se or private player per se who is going to implement this, they are pretty comfortable to have an agreement with PSUs rather than agreement with state DISCOMs. Because PSUs payment security up to a certain extent is, I would say, far better as compared to state DISCOM. Nowhere I'm demeaning this point that the state DISCOMs are not willing to pay. I'm with my whole sincerity, I'm saying that they are willing to pay, but the scenarios or sentiment which are coming in the market based on their recent liability of 1.1 lakh crore of generators, and recently I was reading the article, 47% surge in renewable energy generators payment outstanding. So those kind of sentiments in the market are giving negative sentiment. The state DISCOM may be able to pay such kind of huge money till 10 years. So with this intervention, I'm willing to highlight that government intent is positive. Government is pushing to PSUs, okay, you lead the front, you ensure that this money will be paid to system integrator or private players so that their positive business sentiments come in the market. So apart from this, my next important point to take forward this journey, state DISCOMs also need to come forward with open heart. So like certain point based on number of series of discussions with the state discoms. I discussed with them, how are you going to manage this? Because initial 2.5 years are very critical. And as Rajiv ji also highlighted, technology is changing very fast. So gone are the days when we were talking about cellular communication. Now you could see almost 4 or 5 times of different communication under RF also. Cellular technology is also changing. NB-IoT coming in picture. So all these things are changing very fast. Okay, on top of that, analytics is also going to play a significant role to evaluate what all are the ultimate advantages or benefits to the discoms. So discoms is not having that kind of a competency right. They are developing, but it's a slow and gradual process. It will take time. So discoms are considering the smart metering projects simple PPP project. So PPP project like your road project, till the time you are not able to create your road, develop your road, you will not be paid back. You will not get your toll charges, toll plaza charges. While this project of smart metering project, I would say state discoms need to consider that this program is directly linked with their existing revenue. If something goes wrong, so their revenue would be hit. So they need to consider that their joint participation is very much required, rather than considering, okay, once this system integrator will implement it, then we will pay back. So that thought, I'm seeing most of the state discoms are considering that thought. So they need to be pretty much ready with their team, with their supports. And PMA already been highlighted in different forums that they can appoint PMA. So with the PMA, they should focus the timely execution in terms of ensuring their revenue. Secondly, to get the better grant from the state, from the government, because already we know it's a 15% grant, but if time completion, so it would be 22.5%. One most important point, I would say, communication between consumer and utility. So discoms should also develop a robust communication mechanism through which they can clearly communicate to all stakeholders, be it consumer, so be it government institutions, that this program is for their betterment. And I can solicit the fact that when I started my first smart metering program way back in 2012 in South Africa, which was dealing with 1 million smart metering consumers, they spent a significant fund on this communication strategy part. Because in India, probably we do not consider the customer buying in to install the meter, while in other countries, we have clearly seen there's a clear-cut date-wise scheduler that this meter would be replaced on this particular time with the concurrence of customers. Okay, so I'm giving the discount that, okay, we can't do it for all the consumers because our target is mammoth, 250 million smart meters rollout. But at least a right set of communication strategy should be in place to communicate the customer this is going to happen. And on top of that, if customer is having any challenge, that needs to be addressed promptly to make this program successful. Lastly, I would say discoms should not consider this program only for loss reduction program or only for, I would say, increase the revenue. This program is a base for all futuristic activities, because smart metering is a fundamental or base for smart grid. A smart grid is a fundamental or base of intelligent grid. So if we are not having right set of smart metering infrastructure in place, we will not be able to create an intelligent. So these are my thoughts. Thank you.